Hi everyone, my name is Abhishek Jan, and in today's video we're just gonna see the very interesting Python library known as Faker, and that actually helps a lot to create a dummy data, especially when you want to test RESTful API endpoints where you have to create your payload. It's also help a lot to do a database testing, especially the performance load and the stress testing. So this is really interesting one, and I have been using this for so long now. So let's see, I mean, what features Faker actually provide us. So I just opened that Faker on BI website. So what I'm gonna do is I have already created a simple project in my PyCharm. Um, and let's just start installing the Faker library. So what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna copy this and just paste it here. So installing. So let me just create a new Python file. Let's say of Faker test data. Okay. So what we have to do now is we have to just import from Faker. There is a class called Faker. Okay, and then all we need to do is to just create a Faker object by initializing this Faker class. And then it's very straightforward, very easy. I really like this. And then all you need to do is, so for example, I just need name, right? So let's see if I just want to print name. Let's see what happens, right? So we just wrote a 3 line of code to just get the name, right? So let's see what happens when we run this. Okay, so you can see on my screen we got this Craig Wells, right? The interesting thing is you can just go to the documentation, and if you are very good in exploring through the code, then what you can do is you can just search for all the options, all the functions and the classes, and so I'm just using this dar basically dir, so that way we will get to know what all function it has, right? So now you can see bunch of functions through which you can get a lot of info. Um, so we so we can just start address. So we have this address as well. We have administrative unit. I don't know whether you need it or not. So you can just see, these are the functions which we have with this Faker. And we can use some, the interesting one. So for example, zip code. We can use credit card provider if you want, cryptocurrency code, company email, color, right? We can use whatever we want, right? So let's see, let's add a few more to the list. Let's see if I want to do this. Okay. And then let's assume, I mean, we want company email as well. Okay, so what's gonna happen? It's very easy, it's very easy to use. You can easily implement, wherever you need to create a test data. you know. Oh, let me just clean this up so clear for you guys. Okay, if I run this, let's see what happens. So we are getting name, then we are getting some address, and then we are having this email ID, right? So that also looks good. And if you need some more info, you can just pick and choose whatever you want, right? You want MAC address, you can do that. You need longitude, you can do that. So there are many more, and there are a lot of other feature as well which you want to use. I mean, you can just go through the documentation and you can just get to know, I mean, what exactly you want, right? For example, we have URI, we have some URLs, UUID, username. I mean, whatever you can think of. I mean, it's very powerful. And if you want to just create your own specific fake data, that also you can use. You can do so. If you want to use a name, you can do that. The another interesting one is UUID 4 because I use this a lot. Let me just uh, this line of code because we already have that info, like what all function supports. But I mean, in case you want to get more detail, you can just go to the documentation and you can just see, right? So we got name, we got address, we got email, we got username, we got UID4. Just copy paste twice. So just see. But the thing is, every time you are running this, right, you are getting a different set of data, right? But sometimes there is a requirement that you want to get the same kind of data. Then there is a concept of seed, right? So all you need to do is, once you have this faq seed, then you can just give any number, for example 234, right? Let's see what happens if I run this, right? So we got scene Hodge, then address, then Jennifer, username, blah blah blah. So let's see what happens if I just again, right? Now you can see we are getting the same data which we were getting, in the previous row. So what this seed actually does is, if we want to consistently generate the same data, then we can use the seed. Otherwise, we can just comment this out, right? So if I just run this one more time, then definitely we're going to get a different fake data, right? This is what we can see. So I think this is just a basic functionality which we have understood so far. And apart from that, it has, some additional provider as well. I mean, if you want to use, so if you just go through this document, right? So we have this ad provider. If you use internet, then it's going to give you the internet specific data. And apart from that, we have some community provider as well that also you can use. The other thing is, if you want to use a specific locality to get the name, age, and address. So for example, US related data, if you want Japanese, right? So I think this is what you have to provide as a list. So if you need multiple, country specific data, but if you want only Japanese one, right? So this is how it's kind of made out, right? So let me run this. So rather than getting, English, which seems like a default value, then we are just getting a Japanese, right? So there is, so if, someone wants to generate in Hindi, belongs to, and they have a need to just generate the Indian data, then we have to use HIN. Yes, good. Yeah, so we can see that Indian data. Similarly, we can use, US, which is seems like a default one. So this also looks good. But if you want to have a mixture of data from US, due to some reason, you have your application, which supports multiple language, and you want to generate some fake data, you can do that. So let's see what happens now. Okay, so we are getting Japanese data, for name, whereas, for address, we are getting Hindi, with actually just mixing up, different values, right? And if you just see here, this is username, right? So it seems like a Japanese, right? So this is how you can mix and match, if you want to get the data from different countries, and you want to mix them, and you can always do that, right? So these are the major concept. I think by having this, only simple lines of code, you can just generate whatever number of data you want to generate. So for example, you can just iterate through this in loop. Let's assume that range, let's say 10, and so if we just do this, all you need to do is, see, it's straightforward, right? And if I just wanted to make it, example, I don't want to use any. So save. And if you want to format that, in a different way, that also you can use the app string here, something like this, if you want. And then you can use name, and then something like comma separated, or data if you want to generate, you can use email, Likewise, you can have username. Okay, so let's see what happens. Let me just this this also because I don't need. Let's assume that we need this also. So I hope you guys know how this f string works. So if I run this, let's see what we're gonna get. Okay, so we get just comma separated, values for these few columns, right? And now we can see a quick, real-time use case where you can use this fake library to insert a data to the SQLite database, right? So what I have done is I have just created a simple, class. What it does is it's just create a person data, which is my table name, and this is my SQLite, database. So right now I already have that. So let me just clean that up. Okay, so let me just put the name for my database. I mean, if you want, I can push this code to the GitHub, but you can just quickly create your own SQLite database. I have, I think, a tutorial where I just explain how you can just create a SQLite client through which you can just, create the table on a database and then you can just manipulate. So what this program currently doing is it's just going to create your database and then it is going to create a table with the table name. So we can give this like something faker, faker test data. This is the table name which we're going to get. And then what we are going to do, we are having a person ID, we have name, we have age, we have address, and then we have created ad. So I think we just need these four. Person ID is integer, so then name, then age. And the good thing is, what I'm doing here is, if you just see, I'm just creating, faker object, and then let's see, we have this manipulate table where we are just inserting a data and insert into, right? And then it requires the dictionary, basically the key values object. So it's using a little bit of Python concept. If you guys are not having clear understanding, you can just put that in the comment section and probably I can just explain the entire code here. But what we are doing, just to give you the sense, this is the this is the dictionary which I am generating here, and then I am having a name. And if you just see, this is my object, which actually just having a object for the faker, and then I'm just getting a name, and then for age I'm just using this random library to just generate a random integer, and then for address I'm again using the same, right? So this is how I'm generating my dictionary which has name, age and address, and then I'm just feeding in let me just do this. Okay, so I think this is pretty much it. So here what's gonna happen, this object is actually calling this manipulate underscore table function, and if we just go here, what it's doing, it just take that is dictionary, assign it to this particular variable, and then based on this, it's generating an insert statement with using a string. And it's simple one, insert into the table name, the name, age and address, and the values is going to be through this dictionary. I'm just getting the name, age and address, right? So this is how the faker library, it's very easy, and we can just generate the number of lines of code we want to generate. And right now I'm just generating 1,000, and if you want you can just create a 10,000 as well, right? So let me just run this and see what happens. So I'm just getting inside the database utils, and then I need to just run this SQLite client. Oh, okay. So I just need to quickly fix this. Okay, I just fixed it. Now. Okay, it seems like it's failing. Let's see why it is failing. Object has no SL connection. is being inserted without an issue. Creation of table frequent test has failed with exception to this code. And you can see a cell connection. Okay, so I really need to fix it. Why this is happening? Mhm. This is a cell connection. Select database part. Oh, so basically, this is the problem. So basically, I'm generating that database itself. So this is how it should work. So it should fix that. You don't have to worry about that. I'll just upload the correct code, and now we can see it just running. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna bring the DB browser, and I'm just gonna open a database. So we have this in fake tutorial that we have this database, and this is fake tutorial DB. Okay, in this fake tutorial DB, what all tables we have? Database, browse data. We have this. Now you can see on my screen. This is faker underscore test underscore data, and we can quickly check. Fake test data, and we can run this. Now we can see, we can just put star to see how many records are inserted. We have just inserted 1,000, so it should give us 1,000. I think it looks good. Okay, so it seems like it is done. So it's very powerful, right? You don't have to do a lot of things. From Faker standpoint, all you need to do is to just create an object and just call the function based on what value you need. We just want name, age, and address, right? But if you want some different field like UUID4, dates, and this has a lot of things, right? And apart from that, it has, additional specific, custom provider, you know, I think this is documented somewhere here. Community providers, you can click on this and you can just get, very specific data. For example, air travel, biology, credit score, data set, education, pick a file, microservices, whatever you want, you can just do that, right? That's one thing, where you can generate as many as data you want in your database table. So for example, if I just wanted to feed and let's assume that 9,000 more rows, right? So I can quickly do that, and then we can quickly check here. If I just keep running this, now you can see the count is getting increased. This is how, it's very easy just to generate the fake data which you want to insert into a database. And same thing you can do against, the RESTful API endpoint where you want to generate the payload. That probably we can cover in a next video. But to start using this faker library, if you want to generate a dummy data or some test data in a production environment, which is pretty much closer to the production like data, then you can use this, right? You can read through with all these documentation. So now the other thing is, which I just wanted to cover is, for example, if you want to add any provider, then how you can do that. So there are some default, providers. So for example, this internet thing, we can quickly check that feature as well. So let me just go here, add this import statement, and then what we need to do is to just add this add provider internet. So for example, once we have this figure object and we're going on this, so all we need to do is to just, in this object, we need to just call add underscore provider, and then we have to just give this internet. Okay, this looks good. And then all we need is we can again check that what are additional internet related functions we have, but we can quickly add the another one, which is figure object dot internet, and see what we going to get. So let me still running. I can cancel this, and I can come back here, and we can run the figure test. Um, oh, I just made a mistake because this is not internet. Basically, it's just giving you some additional, for example, this IPv4 is private, right? So all we need to do is to use, see, probably we're just gonna get, the private IPs if we want for some reason. We can see now it's giving us a private IPs, right? And I think we can use the same for public IP in case we need some dummy public IPs. So all you need to do is to, based on your need, you just have to look for, so these IP, if you just see this randomly getting generated and it's more of, for the public one. So this is how you can use this, right? Some additional. And it also provide you, if you want to if you want to create your own provider, that also you can use. You can just extend the base provider, and you can just create your own generator of data if you want. And if you want, as I mentioned, that there are some custom provider as well, community provider. So if you want to use them, that also you can do, right? So if you want to add your own provider, you can do that, right? So I think I did this for the market data. If you want, we can quickly check that. So for Faker market data, I think Faker market. So this is additional. Where is that? Yes, Faker market. We have the Faker market. I think there is one. Just come back and see. I do remember that I recently used that Faker last week. Faker, then we have we have credit card company, right? So if you market, uh, this is for internet. So I think these are the one which Faker is providing, but you can just look into that, and I'll also just try to see, I mean, which one to use. And if I remember correctly, I think that is with install. Let's see if we get this Faker market. It's food, awareness pattern, planning that. But anyways, I mean, we can just try with this, this publicly available, additional provider. So Faker Food, I don't know whether that market one is the one. I don't know. But now what we had done is we just install this Faker Food, which is going to give us some additional function to generate the test data, which is related to the food industry, basically, right? So all we need to do is, as we just added this provider, so rather than adding this one, we can add we have to just add this line of code once this happens. So, okay, so we have to add this, and then it's very simple. We have to just call dish, right? So dish and its description, right? So we can just bring this line, and then we can add, okay, dish, and then we can use this Faker object now. Okay, so should be good. So that is how you have to do. So whatever additional data you want specific to any industry, let's just clean this up. Okay, so now we are getting this Scotch eggs, Caesar salad, right? And if you want to have the description, we can do that. Um, so this, this is very good, right? When it requires to generate a test data. So use this as much as you want, and because that really ease down my testing, because I was needing a lot of dummy data which mimics a production-like environment, and I was very thrilled when I used this for the first time. So I hope that you can also use that depending upon what kind of testing you want to do, RESTful API endpoint or the database testing, and there can be a number of scenario where you want to use this. Right? If you want to use bigger size file, comma separated data, you can do that. Pipe separated data, whatever you want, you can create with this Figure library, right? So that's pretty much it for this video. In the next video, probably what we're gonna see, how we can do the performance testing on a database with this Faker library. We can do a performance testing, we can do a stress testing, we can do a load testing as well, right? And same thing we can do with the web RESTful API endpoints, right? If you want to measure the performance or the stress or the load against any web application server, we can feed in the payload with this dummy data, which is pretty much looks like a production like data, right? So probably in our next few videos, we're gonna just see the real-time use case of this Faker library. So until then, keep learning and stay healthy. And as always, thanks for watching this video.